All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So this is just going to be another ETT street service once again. I want to apologize. I wanted to try to get out here last week, but a situation came up, so I wasn't able to, come out to the highways and byways. But hey, we're always supposed to, try our best to come out here to the street corners, man. Okay? So, we don't have any particular topic we want to start with. I'm just going to roll through the spirit. All right? I'm going to start at, let's see. I'm going to start with a part of the crucifixion of Yahushai. And the reason I'm going to start with this in the book of Isaiah is because now you have a few individuals out there. One brother, which I like this brother, but he's going off. He said that the God of the Old Testament is actually talking about Satan. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is we're going to go into the scriptures and we're going to prove that the God of the Old Testament is talking about who the world calls Jesus. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you right here, this is one proof that so-called Jesus, or his real name is Yahushai, he was actually predicted to come in the Old Testament. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, and verse 1. Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He have no form or comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, from our faces him, or from him, Slakia. He was displeased, and we esteemed him not. Surely he have bore our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smit of Yahweh and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord, bear with me a second, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. You clearly see this is talking about Jesus. And again, Rich speaks, this is in the Old Testament, man. Okay, so Jesus is clearly prophesied to come in the Old Testament. Okay, there's a few more verses there. I'll read the rest. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as the lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shears is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. That's right, because when you read in the story, right? When you read in the story, they took him before the governor, right? I believe it was Pilate. And what happened was, Pilate asked him, are you the Son of God? All right, he asked him a group of questions, so to speak, and Yahushai did not answer. All right, so Isaiah got that right. And this happened, I believe they say 400 years before Yahushai was on the earth. Okay, so this just proves that the Old Testament is valid, man. That the Old Testament is something we should be reading. Okay, because this isn't the God of Satan, man. Come on now, how stupid can you be? All right. 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall desire his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there any deceit in his mouth. Right. And what's that talking about? Because when you read the story, there was one thief on the other side of him, and there was another wicked man on the left side of him. Or yeah, one on the left, one on the right. All right, so he was buried with the wicked, man. All right. Well, he was put inside of, a cave, so to speak. But still, that was, he was in hell, though, because he was in the grave. Okay? As when you read in the Bible, right, the word hell means, the word hell either means a condition or a condition or the grave. That's what the word hell means. Okay? There's no such place underneath the world where if you're evil, you die and then you're going to go and burn there. That's not in the scriptures, man. All right? And don't get me wrong, I used to believe that. All right? I used to believe that if you're wicked, you're going to die and go to hell. And I used to teach that. But then when I came across the apostles of GMS, then I clearly seen how they showed through the scriptures that there's no such fit place, man. Okay, so hey, it comes a time where you just got to accept that you're wrong, man. And a lot of guys don't want to do that, which is understandable, of course. All right, let's see. Said, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He have put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul, and shall be sanctified. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall drive the spoil with the strong, because he have poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Now, after I just read that whole chapter, right, you clearly see that is talking about who the will calls Jesus, man. Okay, so Rich speaks, brother. That's a cut to you, man. Okay, saying that the Old Testament is the God of the Old Testament is Satan, is what that brother said. Okay, so that brother, hey, he's clearly going off, man. Okay, that brother's clearly going off. Okay, because the scriptures say, which hold on, let me say this, man. I wanted to ask that brother if the Old Testament is, a false, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically something we shouldn't follow. We'll put it that way. Or as he said, the God of the Old Testament is Satan. If that's the case, well then how are there many end time prophecies written in the Old Testament, man? Okay. Such as, I know them off the top of my head. You got Isaiah the 13th chapter, Isaiah the 47th chapter, Jeremiah the 50th chapter. You got, don't forget Daniel. Don't forget Daniel, man. Don't you have in Daniel 12, it talks about Jacob's trouble, man. So the Old Testament is clearly part of the Bible, man. Okay, there's no way these guys can really argue with this information. Okay. Another thing as well, man. The same guy, the same dude I'm talking about, he said that the Apocrypha is not part of the Bible, man. That clearly isn't the case. All right? Because, for example, right? If you read the book of Maccabees, it mentions a group of brothers who was killed for not eating swine's flesh, okay? And I find that ironic because they mention that it was passed down from their forefathers as a commandment that you should not eat swine's flesh. So they said they were willing to die to keep the commandment than to eat swine's flesh, man. Okay? And there's also a mention, somebody pointed this out once before in a Apocrypha debate. They pointed out that it mentions, I don't remember this verse off the top of my head, I think it might be in Hebrews, but it mentions those brothers who actually died for not eating pork. Okay? It mentions them, man. Okay? So now we know this information. Now we know this information. How can we still sit here and say that the Old Testament is not part of the Bible, man? Or anybody saying that, you're not on that type of level, man. All right, you don't know the scriptures. All right, let's see. Let's go to. The other thing I wanted to mention is this also proves the scriptures have to be true, and that what you learn in school really isn't true, man. All right, because I've been doing research lately into the dinosaurs, man, and as shocking as it might sound, they found stones that are only 1,500 years old that show man fighting dinosaurs on them, man. And there's over 2,000 of these stones that they found in the relatively, the same area. Okay. If I remember, I'll put a link to the video in the description box, and I will re-upload it onto my channel. Okay. Another thing as well, you have found, or I should say they have found, cave drawings that are only a few thousand years old that show dinosaurs on them, man. And on a lot of them, it shows man fighting dinosaurs. Now, my question would be, if they didn't find out about dinosaurs until the 1800s, it was only like 200 years ago, then how did people who lived 1,000 years ago know what these creatures look like if they didn't know anything about what a dinosaur was until 200 years ago, man? And another thing as well, I thought dinosaurs went extinct 60 million years ago is what they say. And they say human beings first appeared, I believe, a little under 300,000 years ago is what they say. Now, if this is the case, there's an issue with this. And that would be that how do we have stones carved showing dinosaurs and man living together, and cave drawings of people seeing dinosaurs, if people have not even been on the earth, so-called, for under 300,000 years, man. But yet dinosaurs been extinct for more than 60 million years. You see how that doesn't make any sense? And when you bring up this information, these modern day scientists, they really don't want to accept that, man, because that totally proves their belief wrong. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is because when you read in the scriptures, the Lord actually mentions a dinosaur, man. Or I should say Job mentions a dinosaur. Okay, it's called the sauropod dinosaur, man. That long neck dinosaur that's like a few hundred feet tall, man. Or maybe not that tall, but huge, man. All right, the long neck dinosaur, it's called a sauropod. Okay, and it's actually mentioned here in Job chapter 40. Now, I understand that people would say that the Bible is fake, which is, that's understandable, it could be. All right, hey, none of us can know. Even as Elder Apostle Zahar said when Vocab alone asked him a question. I mean, how do you know you have the truth? And Zahar said, hey, we don't know. And the truth is we don't know. I can't call the Most High down and have him appear here for everyone to see. You can't do that, man. All right? You just got to believe it off of faith, man. Okay? But anyway, I want to prove that the scriptures are valid and that science is false. And the way I'm going to do this is because if it mentions a dinosaur here in a book that's less than 2,000 some years old, right? Or, around there. If these dinosaurs went extinct over 1 million years ago, all right? Let's just be fair and say 1 million years ago, not 60 million. Let's just say that, just for argument's sake, okay? So the dinosaurs went extinct 1 million years ago. But yet this book here, which is 2,000 years old or so, around there, this basically gives a clear depiction of what this creature looks like. Okay, so Job, when he's seen this, he had to have seen this creature alive, man. So you see, even if the scriptures were not true, it clearly proves science to be false, man. Okay? Job chapter 40 and verse 1. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproved Yahweh, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer, yea, twice. But I will proceed no further. Then the Lord answered unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, gird up thy loins like a man, and I will demand of thee, and declare unto thee, and thou also dismantle my judgment, that thou condemn, or Salakia, to condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous. Thou an arm, hast thou an arm like Yahweh? Here, hold on. I'm actually going to jump down to the verse where it mentions. Job chapter 40, verse 14. Then will I also confess unto thee that mine own right hand can save thee. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee, he eats grass like an ox. Now they say that these dinosaurs, right, or the sauropod dinosaur, he eats like the tree here next to me. He eats the leaves off the trees, man. All right. Oh, another thing as well. Let me even mention this, man. Do you have a lot of people, which I know them in real life as well, but you have some people who say that you're not supposed to eat meat. Now, my argument against that statement would be, you know, the teeth at the back of your mouth, right? Those teeth are designed to be able to basically eat meat, man. So, if you're dealing with the scriptures, and the Most High said in the dietary law that you can eat certain types of animals, that for one proves that you can't eat meat, okay? And again, why would the Lord make man with teeth that are designed to ground meat up, man, if the Most High did not intend for man to eat meat, okay? It's very simple to understand, okay? Anyway, let's go back. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Right, now let's stop there for a second. He moves his tail like a cedar tree. All right, now and in modern translations, they translate this as either a hippopotamus or a elephant. Okay, now the problem I have with this belief of theirs is if you look at the tail of these creatures, they're only about this big, okay? However, a tail of a sauropod dinosaur, I believe they said it's 60 feet long, okay? So it's basically like a tree, man, okay? So, I mean, going off the description we have already, this clearly is matching a dinosaur, okay? His bones are as strong as pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. Right, now, if you ever seen these bones before, man, and they have them in the museums across the world, man, or you can just look at up the images on online, man. That if you shot these creatures with a gun or something, that's not gonna hurt them, man. Why? Because even if the bullet hits their bones, they're built in such a way that they can withstand that impact, like iron would. Okay. Let's see. He is the chief of the ways of Yahweh. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring forth food where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees and the cover of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow, and the willows of the brook do pass him about. Right, now, again, I mentioned earlier, the sauropod dinosaur, right, they used to eat the leaves off the trees, man, okay? And again, they didn't eat meat, okay? They just ate like grass or, you know, leaves. Pretty much that's all they ate. Maybe berries and stuff like that, which they could have. All right. So let's see. It says, behold, he drinks up a river and haste not. He thrusteth that he can draw up the Jordan in his mouth. Right, now these creatures, right, they could drink gallons of water at a time, man. Now, Let's see. There's something I wanted to mention. Oh damn, it slipped my mind. But yeah, you know, these prehistoric creatures, man, they can drink a whole lake. Which I actually, ironically, have a lake behind me here. All right. So these prehistoric creatures, especially the sauropod dinosaur, they could drink that lake in a matter of days, man. Because they need that type of water to, you know, be able to survive with that type of, you know, massive body. All right. So that description given, or Slucky, let me read again. He takes it with his eyes and his nose pierced through snares. Right. Now over in the Amazon rainforest, there's tribes there. They estimate that there's probably over 100 and some tribes over in the Amazon that still have not met anybody from the so-called modern world. Okay? 'Cause that place is huge, man. Okay, but the thing is that a lot of these tribes have said that they have seen the sauropod dinosaur alive just years ago, man. Okay? And the interesting thing is they gave them a piece of paper and a pen, and they wanted them to write down the description of this creature. And the description they gave looked exactly like the dinosaur that you would see in Jurassic World, man. All right? Exactly like it, man. Okay? Another thing as well, when I was dealing with the stones, on some of the stones they showed the raptors, right? And they had feathers on them. Now, scientists only found out a few years ago that the raptors, they only, well, for one, they're very small. They're not as big as, you know, the ones that they show you in Jurassic Park. But they found out that they actually do have feathers, man. All right, so those ancient people got that right, and modern scientists got it wrong, man. Okay? And again, if the dinosaurs didn't even exist back then, when they wrote the, you know, these carvings on the rocks and on the stones and whatnot, then how did these people know this? Obviously, because they had to be alive back then. I mean, there really ain't no other, you know, way to explain it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's very self-explanatory right there, man. If we just read it, Job chapter 40, it's clearly talking about a sauropod dinosaur, man. Okay, which proves that the Bible has to be true, and that second, with the same verse, or chapter, I should say, it also proves that modern day science is false, because how could an individual who just lived a few thousand years ago know what a dinosaur looks like, man? Okay. Now, I was actually wanting to do a video with the one brother, Rakapana, man. All right, because hey, I haven't talked to that brother on a video, and I would say maybe about 2 years it's been since we did a video together. So yeah, I think it's about time that I bring that brother on there. You know, hey, he believes that the Sabbath is Saturday though, man. So hey, that brother, he don't know the scriptures. All right, he still believes in that sweet Jesus, man. Okay. Now let me deal with this real quick, man. Okay, because the one brother on the comment board, let me just check my video time. All right, I should be good for a few more minutes. If the video cuts out, then Salakia, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, but anyway, the one brother, the mind of God, right? He actually invited me to debate, which, hey, brother, I want to come debate you on the virgin birth and the so-called pre-tribulation rapture, man. All right, I contacted you on Google Hangouts 3 months ago, but you never responded to me. And it's all right, though. Maybe I got the wrong account. But if you see this video, put your Google Hangouts name or Gmail in the description, or not the description box, because only I can do that. In the comment box, if I can speak today, put it in the comment box, and then I will get in contact with you, man. Okay? Anyway, I wanted to deal with something he said real quick. He said that that the tribulation is going to be before, or it's lucky, the rapture is going to be before the tribulation. Okay, that's what the mind of God said. Okay. Now I have to disagree with this statement, because for one, the Lord said that all these things must be fulfilled, and then the end shall come. Okay, so the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, okay, the mark of the beast must first come, and then the end could come, man. Okay, the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, okay? We've been saying it for years, but we'll keep on saying it again. That first has to happen, and then the end can come, man, okay? The scriptures say in Revelation, I believe it's Revelation 3:10, that I shall keep you from the hour of temptation, which will come upon all the world, okay? Now, you're going to be here for the hour of temptation, man, okay? Because that's, I mean, it's self-explanatory. What? I'll say it again, the hour of temptation. You gotta deal with that to see if you really believe what you say you do, man, okay? It says it shall come upon all the world, okay? Let's see here. I actually want to get this. Matthew chapter 14, verse 23. Then if any man say unto you, Lo, here is Yahushai, or there, believe it not, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as lightning comes out of the east and shines unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right, now how's the Lord going to return? The Lord's coming in UFOs, man. Okay? So when you see, you got something called Project Bluebeam, right? Where they can make a holograph appear in the sky, man. So it actually might look like that white Jesus is coming down from the sky, man. But in all factuality, it would actually just be a computer system, man. So they're going to deceive many people. Okay, many people right now, as I'm speaking, 2.4 billion people on earth believe in Serapis Christus, okay, the so-called white image of Christ, okay? 2.4 billion people, man. All right? That is a ton of people. So, knowing that, obviously, hey, the scriptures also say, what is it? I believe it's, let's see, Matthew the 7th chapter, 7 verse 13. For broad is the way which leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to life. So how is, you know, how is 2.4 billion people got the truth, man? That shows you Christianity is true, man. You Christians don't know the Bible, all right? So anyway, so it says, I'll read that verse again. For as lightning comes out of the east and shines unto the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Right. Okay, so we don't see this secret rapture anywhere in the scriptures, man. All right, there is no place in the scriptures where it says a secret rapture. It doesn't say that. Okay, now let me get this real quick. Revelation chapter 6, and let's see, do I want to get anything here? Let's see. Here, hold on a second. I know it was here somewhere. It's all right. I'll get something else I wanted to bring out, which was what is that? Isaiah the 9th chapter. And my recorder is probably about to shut off in a few minutes, so Salakia if it cuts me off when I'm teaching, but it's all right. It's all for edification. Let's see. Isaiah chapter 9 and we'll start at verse 5. Isaiah 9 and 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. For this shall we be with burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice. From thenceforth and forever, the seal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. Right, now, when is that going to happen, man? That's going to happen when the Lord returns, okay? Because what's going to happen when the Lord returns? The Lord's going to take down all the kingdoms of the world, okay? It mentions in Revelation that I saw it said when John Cena, he said, I saw a white horse, and him that sat on him had many crowns. Now, what are those crowns? That's talking about taking down these kingdoms, man. Which the top kingdom that's going to fall is America, which is Babylon, okay? Not the Vatican City for you Seventh-day Adventists. You don't know the scriptures, okay? First of all, hey, you Catholics, well, I'm not even going to get into you, because a lot of you are still eating pork, man. I mentioned earlier that in Maccabees, some brothers were literally tortured and put to death for not eating swine's flesh, man. Okay? So how could you sit there and say, oh, well, Jesus died for me to eat this rib? Okay. Well, where does it say that in the scriptures? Oh, they'll bring up, oh, well, whatever goes into the mouth doesn't defile a man. Well, the funny thing is, if you read the full chapter, it actually mentions that is referring to dirt. For example, the other day when I had to rip up some floors, right? If I did not wash my hands after I got all that, dirt that's been sitting under there for years, or, insect parts on me, because I got a lot of that from that job. If I was to go eat at lunchtime without washing my hands, and then I get that dirt in my mouth, and, insect parts and whatnot, that's not going to defile me. That's not talking about, oh, if I eat a bologna, shout out to anybody who gets that joke. If I eat a bologna sandwich, then that's not going to defile me. Because, as I said, they say, oh, well, it's not that which goes in your mouth that defiles you, but that what comes out. Now, again, though, that clearly ain't talking about food, because if you read the whole chapter, it clearly mentions that's talking about eating with unwashed hands. Okay? You just got to understand. For example, the scriptures say, John 3:16, for Yahweh loved the whole world that he gave his only begotten son. All right? Now when you're dealing with that, that's only talking about Israel. Isaiah 45:17, Israel shall become an everlasting world, a world without an end. So, the Lord even said in the book of, what's the scripture? I believe it's John 17:9. He said that I pray not for the world, but them that you give me out of the world. So the Lord clearly said that he did not pray for the world. Okay? I mean, he just got to understand the scriptures, man. When you see certain words in the scriptures, it doesn't always mean what it might appear. For example, Romans chapter 13, that every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Even GMS is going off with this one. All right? Oh, obey the government, obey the government. That's not in the scriptures. All right, we don't got to obey what this devil says, man. Now, I'm not saying to go out and disobey him. I'm not saying that. All right? But I'm simply saying that the scriptures does not say to obey the unrighteous. That's not in the scriptures. It uses the word higher power, right? Now, the higher power is talking about, for example, Moses would be the higher power back in that time when the Israelites came out of Egypt. He would be the higher power because he was the minister of the Most High. For example, now we are the higher powers because we are the ministers of the Most High. And if you read the whole chapter, it even mentions this is God's minister. That's what it says. It doesn't say, oh, well, this is the government. It doesn't say that, man. You're just acting simple-minded, man. Okay, so because when you really deal with it, the whole thing, and see what it's really saying, it is not talking about what it appears it is. Okay? So Romans 13 is not talking about